Government told to release funds for Motu Koita Elections. Vacant teacher positions highlight in Parliament. And ICCC announces new increase in fuel prices.
This is the National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining me for Friday's news. Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato is calling on the government to release funds to the Electoral Commission to run the Motu Koita Assembly election. The Motu Koita Assembly election is estimated to cost 900,000 kina. Commissioner Gamato said to date the Commission has not received any funds from the government.
Intergovernment Minister Kevin Isifu has signed the writ for the Motu Koita election. The writ was issued on the 30th of August. Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato said so far the Commission has got backing from the NCD governor for the election. He said the Commission will be using these funds to print ballot papers while waiting for the government's funding. He was present today at the Borough Electoral Commission office to officiate the order of draw for the chairpersonship of the Motu Koita Assembly.
900,000 kina to conduct the Motu Koita election. Unfortunately, we have not received any budget from the funds from the national government. So I'm now calling on the national government to provide funds to the Electoral Commission to conduct the Motu Koita Assembly election. I've already written to the Chief Secretary. I'm just waiting for the Chief Secretary. I think he's talking to Secretary of Finance. So I hope they can release funding next week so we can continue on with the work.
The Motu Koita Assembly was established by an Act of Parliament. There will be 4 ballot papers for this year's election, one for the women representative for Motu Koita East and West respectively, one for the ward councillor and one for the Motu Koita chairperson. The only female candidate contesting the seat for Motu Koita chairperson, Beatrice Mahuru, said she was excited with women's involvement in this election.
Really honoured that people are considering a woman in this generation to lead our people for the next generation. I stand to try and address social injustice, poor education, sustainable development, so that our Motu Koita people can grow together.
Today, candidates were given the candidate code numbers at the Borough Electoral Commission office. They are given until the 28th of this month to complete campaigning. Polling will start on the 29th of this month and end on the 5th of October, and the counting period will commence on the 5th of October and end on the 19th of October. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
There is an increase in the number of vacant teaching positions in the primary education level. Nuku MP Joseph Sungi raised a question in Parliament as to why there is more vacant positions in his electorate and around the country. Minister responsible Nick Kuman says this is a problem the department wants to address but may take time.
Despite the country building teachers' colleges and producing teachers, more and more vacant positions are created, with many schools facing difficulties with inconsistent staff numbers. The Nuku MP questioned the plans of the Education Department.
Does the Minister and the Department have any plans to concentrate on training teachers in this country?
For Nuku, 40 vacant positions in the primary level remains a struggle for the district and the Education Division to address. Around the country, 3,500 positions remain vacant.
Teachers are the most important factor in the education system. You can have all the facilities, you can have all the curriculum, whatever. But if you don't have teachers in the classroom, Mr. Speaker, you cannot complete the education of our students.
The Education Minister did not deny the existence of the shortage in teachers. While giving an overview of the factors, he responded with a lengthy conclusion of the department's plan.
All leaders of province, the district, even though you can play politics, all country. Let's be fair and be honest and making sure that our teachers who are not in school must be in school and take some responsibility in the province, please.
There are other contributing factors to why teachers' numbers has been an issue in schools. Minister Kuman says the department wants to produce high-quality teachers with better standards by increasing GPA entry levels for teachers training.
The Prime Minister is now putting some policies together, and I'm pretty sure it will go to the cabinet. And I've just spoken to him and said, yes, there will be a tertiary loan scheme to be approved and will be part of our school fee program for all our students in the country, including tertiary institutions.
Jack Lapower Jr., National EMTV News.
The National Planning Minister has thanked the National Executive for approving revisions to the tax credit policy and guidelines, which have increased from 0.5% to 2%. Minister Richard Maru said this is a 400% increase for the government to fund major projects in the country.
According to Minister Maru, the tax credit scheme was a very successful and effective mechanism available to the government to assist with the development of the country. Some examples of the tax credit scheme projects include the Oil Sets National Football Stadium and the Gulf to Southern Islands Highway.
I want to thank the Prime Minister and my colleagues for this very, very historic decision. The implications are very significant for our country. It will now mean many of the high-impact economic projects that you are thinking about can now be funded through the tax credit scheme.
The government has also made a number of very significant changes to the policy, which includes the Central Supply and Tenders Board to be the only body to tender and process all tenders. Maru also added that under the revised policy, companies in non-resource projects will now be allowed to participate in the tax credit scheme.
So one reason why government has increased it is to get more projects funded through the companies so we can get a lot more done. Now what you must understand is tax credit is government money. Companies, instead of paying us tax, they are giving us projects which they're using our own tax money for.
The infrastructure tax credit scheme will also be used to fund infrastructures in non-resource provinces to bring more equitable benefits from the use of our national wealth. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Landowners are set to see increased benefits under a revised Mining Act. That is the assurance from Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. Responding to questions from Moresby Northwest MP Sir Makere Marauta, Mr O'Neill said the amended Mining Act was being finalised and would be tabled in Parliament soon.
In question time in Parliament today, member for Moresby Northwest Sir Makere Marauta asked a series of questions to the Prime Minister. His questions based on issues that were raised by New Island Governor Sir Julius Chan in this Parliament's inaugural sitting. Given talks of amendments to the Mining Act, Sir Makere asked the Prime Minister on his position on various issues surrounding potential amendments.
I want your government's view on the specific issues that he raised, and he raised 6. Royalties from 2 to 10%, increase in special grant support and tax credit scheme, establishment of trust fund to help non-mining provinces, revision of the Mining and Gas Acts, derivation grant for mining provinces, and the increase in provincial autonomy.
In response, the Prime Minister said care was being taken to ensure that more benefits from the resource sector would flow directly to resource owners, adding that amendments to the Mining Act were being finalised and would be presented to Parliament for deliberation.
The Mining Act is under review at present. I will not be preempting the discussions and the outcomes of that review that is taking place. The Mining Minister and his team are already well advanced in those discussions, and there will be an opportunity for this Parliament to look through that review and the new Mining Act that will come through, which will address all issues including royalty, and of course the powers of the provinces in respect to the mining activities in those provinces, and the management of the trust funds as we know it. There has been gross abuse in the management of some of the trust funds. We are all well aware of that. We are trying to correct that as we move forward. And I can assure you that the people of Papua New Guinea and the landowners in particular will get a better share of the benefits of the resource development in this country.
Merabatulo, National EMTV News.
The country's watchdog has announced the new retail fuel prices for this month, with motorists set to dig deeper into their pockets, with prices for petrol, diesel and kerosene all seeing increases. In Port Moresby, petrol prices will increase by 3 kina 97 toya per litre to 3 kina 76 per litre. Diesel prices increase by 5 kina 82 toya per litre to 3 kina 46 per litre, and kerosene will increase by 63 toya per litre to 3 kina 16 per litre. For outside centres, prices will increase as follows. Petrol prices will decrease by 3 kina 97 toya per litre. Diesel prices increase by 5 kina 82 toya per litre, and kerosene prices will increase by 63 toya per litre. According to the ICCC, an in-world oil prices in the month of August has been attributed to the increase of maximum prices set for this month. The new prices come into effect tomorrow. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Works has now started to maintain 121 kilometres of the Sepik Highway through a funding from the Australian Government to the Works Department. The project covers the road from Krea Junction to Muprik. The project includes works such as drainage clearing, culvert replacement, pavement repairs, pothole patching and resealing. Australia is also funding the supervision of this project. The project is being delivered through the Papua New Guinea Australia Transport Sector Support Program. The project is aimed to be completed by February 2020. Koroba Kopiago MP Petrus Thomas presented a cheque of 200,000 kina to Oil Search Foundation today. This follows on from a partnership deal signed in July between the Koroba Kopiago District Development Authority and the Oil Search Foundation to rehabilitate the Koroba District Hospital. The Koroba District Hospital, along with other basic infrastructure, was destroyed by the 7.5 magnitude earthquake in Hela earlier this year.
On the 26th of February this year, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake shook Hela province. The aftermath was devastating, with an estimated 100 people dead and thousands left homeless. The province is currently rebuilding with the support of the government, its stakeholders and NGOs. The Koroba District Hospital is just one of many basic infrastructures that were destroyed. The local MP took it upon himself to rehabilitate the hospital with the assistance of the Australian government and the Oil Search Foundation.
After the relief access, now we're going into the restoration program. The earthquake has affected more schools, health centers and all the infrastructure in terms of education and health in my district. And through my DDA, District Development Authority, we have approved some funds.
The Oil Search Foundation has been working in Hela for some time and for the last 4 years has been supporting the Hela Provincial Health Authority and the government to deliver health services. Oil Search Foundation Executive Director Stephanie Corpus Campbell said partnerships such as this was the way forward in delivering basic services to the people.
It's one, to work through PNG government systems and to work in partnerships with a range of partners, with of course government, with the private sector, with NGOs, with the churches. And through this approach, in a period, a very short period of time, we have seen the, first of all, Tari District Hospital go from a district hospital to a provincial hospital, and then from a provincial hospital to a PHA.
Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
In the Blue Mountains of Southern Highlands Province, the Nipa Kutubu district is embarking on a 25-year district plan to develop the remote district. We recently featured the district in our special independence program, My Province, My Country for Southern Highlands. The Nipa Kutubu District Development Authority has moved their priority from education to health and is looking to hospital tourism to generate revenue for the district.
The 25-year plan includes improving education and health standards, functioning law and order services in the district, and also bringing an appeal for public servants in all sectors to be based in the district.
We have 10 buildings. For public servants, we have 20 buildings already put up. since 2013 up until this year. We have not touched anything yet because of the financial constraints we have faced by the government of Papua New Guinea. So,
on law and order, the once no-go zone district, due to tribal fights, is looking to have all the structures needed. Currently being built is a 400,000 kina national and district courthouse, along with housing and a penitentiary holding center.
That means we'll have to make sure that the police station works. And if the police is not, charging people, then we have no case here. So if we have the magistrate here, then we have a court, what we call this rural lockup. It's already completed. That's a 5 million project. It's completed, and we've been waiting for the magistrate and the district court here. So when this actually happens, comes into existence, and then those that receive penalty under 1 year will keep them here, and anything above that will go to Mendi and other prison camps. So,
for education, constant funding to schools and a teachers' college in Nipa district.
Teachers' college coming up. We have funded nearly 1 million kina in there. It's on our way. If we can have time, we will go and visit a project site. Some infrastructure development had been up already, and the education department is working around the clock with Deputy Speaker and Member for Nipa Kotubu.
And for health, the Southern Highlands Provincial Government and Nipa Kotubu District are looking forward to the opening of a 25 million kina hospital,
on which we should be able to open get it operational.
With housing provided for doctors and nurses willing to work in the district, especially specialist doctors.
Hospital tourism. Now we have the road coming in. So you see, Nipa has no resources. We had to come up with something to make money, and we see the hospital as the gold mine there. So if we can put all the facilities and everything that we need to do with this road opening up, we believe that we can attract people to come in here, and everyone coming here, they'll put some money in their pocket. So in that way, people will not just come to the hospital, but they will also come in and bring something into it.
The District Development Authority says they are constantly funding health centers in different LLGs to ensure that only serious cases are referred to the Nipa Hospital.
We cannot make this work if we don't look at the health center. So that is exactly what we are doing. And then the DD has also come up with another policy to go and really fund the aid posts. That's something that has never been done. This year alone, we're trying to put 50,000 each into all the aid posts, so build the capacity from the aid post level and build it up. So in that way, the basic medical services that community need is provided within their community. If it is a major one, they can come to the health centers, and the bigger one would be in here. So.
But the district has its challenges. The national highway is a rough terrain and there are no major shopping centers in the district. But the Nipa Kotubu district government believes that developers will come in once the district has vital government services in place and functioning. Adelaide Xerox, Kari National, EMTV News.
A 19-member delegation from China's Guangdong province arrived in the country today. The delegation, led by a member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Secretary of the Guangdong Provincial Party Community, Li Zi. Mr. Li met with Parliament Speaker Job Pomat as well as with State Ministers Justin Tichenko, James Marape and William Duma this afternoon to discuss areas of closer cooperation between Guangdong province and Papua New Guinea. Whilst in the country, the delegation will also be visiting various Chinese businesses as well as projects funded by Guangdong province. This evening, Mr. Li is expected to sign a series of agreements with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill related to trade. The delegation departs on Sunday. Stories making headlines overseas. When we come back, stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, the UN Security Council is scheduled to hold an emergency meeting on the crisis in Idlib, Syria. The US urging the Syrian government to hold plans for a whole attack on Idlib. Meanwhile, CNN has an exclusive look at life in Idlib in what may be the calm before the storm.
Daubing on more yellow to complete the look, artist Aziz Al-Asmar paints a likeness of U.S. President Donald Trump. On the collapsed roof of a bombed-out house in the village of Binnish in Syria's Idlib province. I drew him giving Bashar al-Assad and the regime a green light to hit us with any weapons except chemical ones, says Aziz. Officials in the U.S. administration, including President Trump, have warned of severe consequences if the Syrian military uses chemical weapons in the offensive to retake this last province still under opposition control. In the province's capital, also called Idlib, the scenes captured in this exclusive video obtained by CNN certainly don't convey the sense of a population preparing for the final battle. Nearly half of the province's current population of over 3 million fled or were bussed in by the Syrian government under safe passage agreements from other parts of the country restored to Damascus's control, including tens of thousands of jihadist fighters, among them many members of what's known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, until recently an affiliate of Al-Qaeda, none seen in this video. Yusuf Al-Ahmed's shop in Idlib city is well stocked. Business, he says, is down, but not dramatic. Some people are worried and afraid, he concedes. Some are thinking of fleeing. As for me, I'm not going anywhere. Yusuf, like Aziz the artist, doesn't have much faith in President Trump's warnings. Now he's talking and talking and talking, but I don't think he can stop it, he says, referring to the long-anticipated offensive. Greengrocer Ghaith Sayed has plenty of vegetables and fruit on offer in this agricultural province, once considered by many Syrians as a backwater. He admits he's concerned. Yes, if they're going to strike us, we should get our women and children out, he says. Pharmacist Sausan Saeed is doing what she usually does, dispensing medicine and lots of advice. She's confident that Syria, Russia, Turkey, and the U.S. will somehow reach an agreement to avoid a bloody military operation. But she's also pondering other options if diplomacy fails. Once we've lost hope that we won't be able to stay, we'll escape to Turkey or to Europe, says Sausan. Most people will take to the sea to get to Europe. At least here, at least for now, this is the calm before the storm.
The front-running candidate for the president's seat in Brazil was attacked on Thursday. Here is the video that shows how he got attacked.
Cocky, controversial, Jair Bolsonaro is taking Brazilian politics by storm. The 63-year-old has become one of the leading candidates ahead of the upcoming presidential election, even while running for the small Social Liberal Party. Focusing his message on tackling corruption and violence, the pro-gun enthusiast not afraid to speak his mind.
You don't diminish violence with flowers. Let me be clear. Weapons don't generate war, and flowers don't guarantee peace.
A member of the Brazilian Congress since 1991 and known for his sometimes racist, misogynistic, homophobic, and even undemocratic views, Bolsonaro has cast himself as a political outsider. Offensive for most, it is his outspoken nature that has many saying he's Brazil's version of Donald Trump. His firebrand attitude attracting millions who believe he can shake up Brazil's corruption-marred political class. Drain the swamp, if you like.
The most important thing that we can do here is to show people that we will put Brazil first.
The populist candidate has focused most of his campaign efforts on social media, targeting the many struggling and disenfranchised Brazilians who lost faith in the country's political class, as they endured one of the worst economic crises in decades. With embattled former President Lula da Silva barred from running on corruption charges, Bolsonaro's approach has seen him top most polls ahead of this election. And that, many say, could lead him all the way to the presidency.
World leaders are back in Britain and blaming 2 Russian agents for the poison attack in Salisbury. The US, France, Germany and Canada are all urging Moscow to provide full disclosure of the Novichok nerve agent program.
The Novichok murder and attempted murder cases spilled out into the historic Security Council chamber with another big power verbal shootout between the United Kingdom and Russia. Britain said Russia was behind the attacks and won't cooperate in the investigation.
This is a broader issue even than the very serious matter of use of chemical weapons on the streets of Salisbury. This actually goes to the heart of the international system. It goes to the heart of the rules-based order. We and our allies will want to think about how we push back on this sort of Russian activity, which is not only malign, it's also reckless. It's reckless to the individuals who get caught up in Russian machinations. It's reckless for the international system.
The Russian ambassador said Moscow did offer to cooperate and was rejected by the United Kingdom. The Russian diplomat denounced the conclusions of the British investigation, which blamed 2 Russian operatives.
The number of inconsistencies and unresolved issues in connection with the new British so-called quote-unquote evidence is off the charts.
U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley praised the United Kingdom for teaching a master class in how to prevent the spread of chemical weapons. Haley strongly criticized Moscow for its role in the affair.
It now falls on us to do our part. Rather than accept responsibility for its actions, the Russian government has offered only denials and counter-accusations, anything to deflect attention and distract from its guilt.
The UK said it was important to bring to the world the latest on its investigation to prevent, quote, similar behavior by Russian agents. The Russian ambassador told reporters Moscow is conducting its own probe. The British ambassador said dealing with Russia is like calling an arsonist to put out a fire.
In that seemingly endless war there in Afghanistan, civilians are dying in record numbers this year and dozens are suffering devastating injuries from suicide attacks, bombs and gunfire. CNN reports from a hospital in Kabul that's desperately trying to stitch the bleeding.
A teenage boy returns for yet another round of surgery. His arm was torn off by a bomb. He'll be back for more operations before he returns to a home so insecure that we cannot use his name. And his is a relatively minor case in a hospital that only treats war wounded in a conflict that's bloodier by the day. After 17 years of war, the number of civilian deaths this year hit the highest point since records began. According to the United Nations, 1,692 civilians had been killed by the end of June.
He's from Ghazni.
Run by the Italian charity Emergency, Ghazni.
Yeah.
This hospital often treats more than 50 new victims a day. Each injury logged. Shrapnel, mine, shrapnel, bullet, bullet, bullet. Shrapnel, shotgun, bullet, shrapnel, bullet, 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 bullet. On this ward, every patient is a child.
This young boy here was injured in Ghazni. Now that is a town to the south of Kabul, the main strategic town on the highway south. It was almost overrun by the Taliban a couple of weeks ago. More than 100 people were killed. There was mayhem. And he spent 20 hours with his bowels hanging out of his stomach before he was able to get medical help. A child.
Here the doctors live in fear.
Every day the situation is getting worse and the fighting is increasing, but honestly I don't have any clear future.
The US will spend $45 billion here this year, most of it on training Afghan forces to take over. But poor morale, drug abuse and relentless combat has driven Afghan desertions and deaths so high that the numbers are now secret. One frontline government brigade is down to 30% of its fighters, NATO sources say. Niaz has lost 3 sons and 3 grandsons, all in government forces. 4 others are still alive, but they've all been wounded fighting insurgents. Some of my children and grandchildren were killed on the front line, and some of them near our village. They were beheaded, she says, by ISIS. Now she looks after the 32 children who have so far survived, while she tends the graves of her dead. It's been a bad year in America's longest war. But for Afghans, there's another generation of torment.
And back home in Simbu Province, Karamui Nomane MP Jeffrey Kama is concerned with some of the roadworks in Simbu Province. Speaking today in Parliament, the member said most roads do not last 20 years, with defects evident in less than 6 months from completion. Despite acknowledging the efforts by the state to build roads, MP Kama wants a proper screening process for contractors building roads all around the country.
During question without notice today, the Karamui Nomane MP expressed disappointment of a named contractor doing roadworks in Simbu Province. MP Jeffrey Kama says the work is substandard and questioned why such contractor is given the opportunity to build vital roads in the country.
Plan all now we go miliki paper in Narblana. Also, all personal on site all Narbla. Also, me asking minister in a clear him this la. Also got system where also check him now. These very people that are quoted on the bid are not there.
Responding, Works Minister Michael Nalia showed the steps taken by the tender process to screen contractors doing roadworks in the country. Minister Nali said every step is seriously considered as roads remain a vital infrastructure to link and provide better access for people.
So time me play bid law work. All the contractors bid law work. Government or who said man who said like give him contract go long. Who said man or company. Also look law qualification block company na or capacity block company.
Meanwhile, the national government has allocated funding for the missing link in the Karamui Nomane district. This area has been neglected in the past 40 years. The area is known for its agriculture capacity, but access to town is a barrier.
First page I'm go finish. Now second stage now I'm go na mibla amamas.
Jack Lapava Jr. National MTV News.
You're at National MTV News. Chukai Sports is next. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. PNG High Performance Sports will celebrate the International Day of University Sports on Thursday, 20th of September, together with UPNG and other higher education institutions. The aim of the event will be to promote qualities of good ethics, positive value systems, anti-doping, fair play and other good values.
The International Day of University Sports will be celebrated on 20th of September 2018. The day has been recognized and proclaimed with the aim of preserving sports activities and programs in higher education institutions for students and citizens. Good values as part of the program such as good ethics, positive value systems, anti-doping, fair play, quality physical education, gender equality and social inclusion will be promoted. High Performance Sport PNG will be facilitating the event here in Papua New Guinea and is currently coordinating things in Port Moresby and Lae. Certain sporting codes will be added to this year to the ongoing list of past sporting events. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
In hockey, NCD Hockey Association will host its season grand final this weekend for both the juniors and seniors respectively. The tournament will take place tomorrow at Sir John Guy's Hockey Pavilion. The event starts with kids hockey from 11:30 a.m. and seniors final from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Just over 24 hours until the historic first All Blacks rugby test gets underway. The All Blacks and Argentina are putting the finishing touches on their preparations today.
Thanks, Jenny May. Yes, just enough time for those finishing touches. Both teams, of course, going through their captain's runs at Trafalgar Park this afternoon. Argentina, of course, setting their eyes on the venue for the very first time. And there was actually quite a special ceremony with Kieran Reid after the All Blacks finished their training run this afternoon, being presented a set of keys to the city, of course, in recognition of the All Blacks coming to Nelson for the very first time in the history of the city, of course, the birthplace of New Zealand rugby. But there is one man in the All Blacks camp who probably, even without those sets of keys, could open up any door in Nelson.
It may not be his debut, but there's no mistaking tomorrow's test match is a special occasion for Tasman's Shannon Frizzell.
My debut wasn't Dunedin at the time, it was home for me, but second one's here in Nelson. It's home for me again.
Running out in the 6th jersey for just his second cap, one thing he won't be lacking is local support. And he sees Saturday as his chance to return the favour.
Came here 3 years ago, and Nelson people welcome me as their own son, and now I have to give back what they gave to me.
But Frizzell and the rest of the All Blacks will have their work cut out at Trafalgar Park. The Pumas rolled into Nelson, still riding the wave of their win over South Africa 2 weeks ago. And that confidence is something new coach Mario Ledesma is keen to capitalise on.
You need to be confident to get those victories. It's not the other way around. It's not that confidence comes from the victory. You cannot achieve that if you're not confident enough.
But Ledesma admits facing the All Blacks is a different challenge entirely.
We've done what we thought it would be the best game plan and preparation for this game. Does it make it any easier? No, I don't think so. Every week they get better, and it doesn't matter who they put on the field, they get better and better and better.
It's almost a year to the day since Vaya Fifita terrorised the Pumas in New Plymouth wearing the number 6. And now Frizzell has the chance to do the same.
And we have to remember that this Argentinian side is very different to that which toured last year. First of all, most of these boys carry an extra degree of confidence after their best campaign in Super Rugby with the Jaguares. And of course, as we just mentioned, their win in the second round over South Africa, they were bouncing in training off the back of that. But the biggest difference between then and now, without a doubt, is that man, Mario Ledesma, leading them at the helm. He's somehow lifted them and given them an extra boost of confidence, and we can even see that at training and in their results as of late. And even Captain Augustine Creevy telling media today that Ledesma has managed to change the Argentinian mentality both in training and in the games.
And to golf, Tiger Woods had been trying to regain his best golf for months. And today he did even a magical 59 in the sides as he fired his best round in 5 years.
Tiger's grins back, and so Scotty Cameron. That's his Scotty Cameron brand putter, which he's returned to after winning 13 majors with it. The turnaround was immediate today. A huge birdie putt on the first hole at the latest of the FedEx Cup events, the Bmw Championship near Philadelphia, an event the world number 26 last won 9 years ago.
My body remembered the feel of that putter and how it swings, and I was just letting him rip on the greens.
Woods started on the back nine, and his self-proclaimed shot of the day, his second on the par 5 16th, set him up for eagle, his first in 3 months.
So Tiger Woods walks that in.
He blazed through the first 9 holes in 29 for the 6th time in his career. And when the 42-year-old went 7 under after 10 holes, a sub-60 looked on. Brimming with confidence, he almost made eagle again. While he couldn't consistently reproduce the brilliance on the back nine, there were still enough highlights for the smile to return. Woods closing with an 8 under par 62, red hot in the muggy conditions.
What a Thursday for Tiger Woods.
Today I'm a little tired. It'd be nice to hop into a little ice bath or some kind of cooling thing right now.
Incredibly, he's only sharing the lead, as another former world number 1, Rory McIlroy, also found his range.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details coming up next.
Trukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Looking at the weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight in the southern region, a shower or two in Port Moresby, mostly fine in Daru, showers in Kerema, fine weather in Alotau and fine weather, although cloudy, in Popondetta. In the Momase region, fine although cloudy all across the region in Lae, Wau, Midang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, also fine or cloudy in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain drizzles in Mount Hagen, Goroka fine although cloudy in Kundiawa as well, and showers in Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Before we go, here's a look at our top stories again. Electoral Commissioner calls on the government to release funds for the Motu Koita Elections. Parliament told there is a shortage of teachers nationwide, and Parliament set to debate changes on the Mining Act. And that's the way it is this Friday, the 7th of September 2018. Don't forget, we travel to West Sepik Province to bring you My Province, My Country. That's sundown tonight at 8 p.m. From the crew at EMTV News, good night.